right. My name is Cohen Smith, and this is my presentation on how artificial intelligence is being implemented in finance. Just a little bit about my background. I'm currently working for Fidelity Investments for the 401k team at their call center. And one of the things I started to notice here, I started back in May of last year. Something I started to notice is how AI is being implemented. Ever since I started, I'm seeing a lot of changes happen and a lot of implementation of how AI is affecting the workplace. So for my project here, I want to dive deeper into how it's affecting finance and kind of what the future will be as well. Here are some of the things I researched. First, it's how artificial intelligence can be used to predict life events. Second is how AI is being used to enforce security within people's accounts, as well as fraudulent activity that can occur using AI, and the implementation and how AI is being used in the workspace or workplace. And last but not least, I think the big question is how it's going to be used within the stock market to predict how investments are going to do. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with the Arkansas Federal Credit Union case. Arkansas Federal Credit Union, they decided they want to implement into the AI into their process system and used it to predict when people were going to have major life events such as having a baby, buying a home, or buying a new car, having a new job. And they were able to do this through like shopping habits. And when this would happen, especially for the home, they would be able to provide information for buying the home, such as getting a loan, much faster. Some of the other key points they were able to hit here also prevent loan defaults, less fraud, and conversion rates were increased, and like there. Another implementation that AI is being used for, so another pro, is being used to secure people's accounts using biometric authentication such as Face ID or fingerprint, or if they're calling it can be used through their voice. This is something that we talked about in class as well. One of the bigger firms, JP Morgan, they've been implementing this here, and they've stated how much better it's been using biometric authentication, making their login process much faster as well as safer. This is where we tie into some of the cons of AI within finance. So back in January 2024, ARUP, a design and engineering company, had a meeting with one of its employees, and the employee at the end of the meeting eventually wired to 15 different accounts, a total of about $25 million. And as it turns out, that Zoom meeting was all fake. It was full of deep fakes of the head of the company. So it was fraudulently used to create that fraud there. But nonetheless, moving on here. This is something that's kind of been on everyone's mind lately, job security, because of AI. And if anyone's supposed to be worried, it should be me. I mean, I work in a call center, so like I said earlier, I've been seeing a lot of changes with AI, how our resources are being used, how people's accounts are being secure, and just kind of want to get more information on this. So I did meet with someone from our AI development team at Fidelity. I messaged them and able to meet up for a little bit, and we talked about how AI was being used right now. So one of the key points we hit was job security, and how AI is being used to make people's jobs more efficient, not to replace them. Especially when it comes to finance, I think having that human element is very important. That's something that we discussed as well. We got a situation with with an account with a lot of money. You don't want to be talking about that over a chat box or through a robot. You want to talk to a real human about it. So customer service in this way does still need to have that aspect. Some other things we talked about was jobs, account security as well. A lot of these topics I already went over as things we discussed here. And then this is kind of like the big question that people are wondering about, how AI is going to be used to predict the market. So there can be some advantages. As you know, if you type something into a chat bot, you can get information from tons of sources here, and if you use that to predict how an investment's going to do in the coming future, that might have an advantage to it. And there has been some upside to people doing this on their own portfolios. But here are the bad cases that can happen when you use AI to predict the market. A representative from Congress or the government, Raina Miller, gave a study here where they did an experiment where they used AI, a model, to see if they can beat the stock market or be a big fund in a competition. And what actually happened was the AI found out how to do market manipulation to beat out the market, and it wasn't introduced to doing that. It wasn't told anything about market manipulation, and it was taught to do that by itself. So that is one of the cons as well of having AI predict the market there. And then here are my opinions. I think AI is going to be a wonderful tool for everyone, whether it be myself at a call center, someone living at home, working at home, or just anywhere. I think AI is going to be a really useful tool for anyone to use. I think it will make jobs more efficient, while some more mundane jobs will be taken away, such as like basic accounting skills, things we discussed in class with the implementations of AI in companies. I still think it's going to enable people to work on more complex and time-consuming tasks. So that's something that's going to replace our lives. It's going to improve it. So that's my main opinion on AI there. And let's go ahead and head into my conclusion. So, as I discussed earlier, there are some serious advantages and disadvantages to security. It is being used to help people keep people's accounts secure, but we got to be wary because people can still use AI, such as those deepfakes, to access information and financial accounts. And it's something I learned here, especially with that interview. There isn't as much of a job than I thought there would be. When I first started, I was really worried about it, but now, especially looking back on past calls, AI isn't something I'm worried about when it comes to job security and having my job replaced. And then, like I said before, there's some big upside and downsides when it comes to predicting the market. I'm assuming that there's just got to be strict laws put into place when this happens. But that's something that we'll see in the near future here. So with that, I appreciate you listening to my presentation. And yeah.